It's certainly one of the most intriguing matchups in Week 4, and it's a game you can see on CBS at 1 p.m. Eastern. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz, NFL.com's Pat Kirwan. Glad to be with you on the NFL Preview Show presented by Tyson Anytizers. Baltimore at New England. The Ravens have never beaten the Patriots, but Pat, a lot of people thinking heading into this game that Baltimore is a more complete football team than New England.
Well, Baltimore is a very complete football team, and I'll just tell you where I think they're better than the New England Patriots. They're better in the offensive line. You go study this Baltimore Raven offensive line, you're very impressed as run blockers and as pass blockers. So with things starting up front, you got to start there. And they're clearly better at the Mike linebacker with Ray Lewis, and we've seen the injuries and no more Gerard Mayo. So those are just two spots right off the top that they're better.
But having said that, the Patriots were very impressive defensively last week in shutting down Atlanta and Matt Ryan, holding the Falcons to 10 points. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but can they shut down the Baltimore offense?
Well, I don't think so. Now, a couple things that happened last week that did impress me about New England. They got balanced up again on offense. And when you look at that, as it relates to helping the defense, they had 4 offensive drives, that being the Patriots, of 11 plays or more. When you stay out on the field and consume that kind of clock and have scores at the end of it, your defense is going to look better. And they were able to do what everyone else has not been able to do, understand how to limit Gonzalez and slow down Michael Turner. Michael Turner looked a little overweight to me, a little heavy, a little slow. He needs to get himself back on track.
All right, well, I'll let you tell him that. I'm not going to get involved in
he's
there.
Probably watching the show.
In terms of this game, Pat, the Patriots, who you stop, you got to stop Ray Rice. You got to stop Willis McGahee. And now all of a sudden, you got to shut down Joe Flacco the same way you have to shut down Matt Ryan. What do the Patriots do? Is there something schematically here that they're going to do to try and confuse the second-year quarterback?
Well, it's bold. No, watching Flacco under pressure, and he's got a lot of time to throw the football, but under pressure, he's so tall, he can flick a ball, he's got great arm strength, and he'll distribute it. Todd Heap's back in this picture, and he's become an alive player for them, and he's always been hurt in the last couple of years, so he has him. He's gone to him a couple of critical times, and he's gotten a lot out of the receivers. Derek Mason will always be out there ready to burn you, so I do like where his weapons are, and then you're playing the run most of the time. You got to drop a safety in there, and Joe's taking advantage of it.
Yeah, he absolutely has, and they've been blowing teams out with the exception of Week 2 against San Diego, which was a very impressive win. The other part to this, you talked about the long drives for the Patriots. They did it last week with the running game, but nobody runs on Baltimore. So how does that affect this week?
Well, no one does, but I think the Patriots' resolve is no more 50 pass attempts a game unless we're coming from behind. So they're going to continue to try to put the running game in there just to slow down the pass rush. What I think they found out is our offensive line up here in New England is just okay right now. But if we let the defense think it's pass all the time 50 times, they stagger their feet and they're coming upfield. So the run is not going to leave the formula here. On the other side of it, where I don't like the Ravens, is out of corner. There's some real vulnerability out there, so Randy Moss is going to be targeted 10 times. They need Wes Welker to set up the Randy Moss pass attack.
They need Wes Welker to get healthy because he's been inactive the last couple of weeks and certainly has hurt Tom Brady a little bit. Pat, the Patriots have won 16 straight home games when Brady has played. Obviously, last year they lost a couple with Matt Castle. When Brady has played, they've won 16 straight home games. Does that streak get snapped this weekend?
I think it does. And I think that the Baltimore Ravens, when I look at them, I consider the Giants the best team in the NFL this week, and I have Baltimore number 2. So to me, the Ravens can go in there and get a win. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I think Tom Brady's going to get hit quite a bit. And he's been sacked enough, and he's been hit even more. And remember this, the Baltimore Raven defensive plan will look a lot like the Jet defensive plan, and they saw pressure work, so here comes the heat on Tom.
I wonder why. Maybe Rex Ryan has some association with the Ravens now that he's with the Jets. We'll see. It's 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. For more on this game, stay right here with CBSSports.com. That'll do it for the NFL Preview Show presented by Tyson Anytizers, the meaty good man snack. For Pat Kirwan, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care, folks.